My name is Dr. Corrie Nyquist. I recently got my PhD in the Department of Entomology here at the University of Minnesota. And my area of research was in aquatic entomology, looking at cold-adapted aquatic insects. Insects are one of the most abundant and diverse group of animals on Earth. And in stream environments, a lot of the organisms in aquatic areas are actually insects. And these provide important food for fish in the streams, as well as organisms around the streams, such as birds. Throughout the year, when thinking about climate change, it's going to be really important to study all the organisms in stream environments. Food webs are interactions of different organisms that feed on each other. And when we talk about stream food webs, this is the whole web or interaction of different organisms in a stream, and sometimes includes organisms around the stream as well. In stream food webs, we start off with primary producers. These are things like plants or macrophytes and algae that are going to be photosynthesizing and making energy from sunlight. Then we have herbivores that feed on these organisms. In the aquatic insect category, this is broken down into several different types of herbivores. We have shredders, and these are insects that are going to be taking plant material and shredding it into smaller pieces and feeding on it. And we also have scrapers that are going to be scraping algae and other primary producers off of surfaces of rocks and feeding on that. And then we have detritivores. These are organisms that are feeding on dead and decaying organic matter. This can be plants or tissues of other dead organisms in the stream. Sometimes within aquatic insects, we have organisms called collector-gatherers, and these will be collecting different materials flowing downstream that are considered detritus. And then we also have predators, and these are organisms that are going to be feeding on detritivores and herbivores. They can include other insects like dragonfly larvae or nymphs that are going to be feeding on other organisms. They can also include fish and other vertebrates as well. You're going to be seeing a video of us visiting a stream in Stillwater, Minnesota. And in this video, I want you to look for leaf packs as well as some information around how food webs change in different seasons, starting with the fall, and some information on different habitats within the stream.
We're in what's called a first order stream. So it's a very small stream. There are no tributaries to it. Energy flow, what you're seeing here, sunlight out there, of course, makes this overhanging vegetation. But the important thing, I think, to see in something like this is what you're seeing right here. Fall of the year, people think, oh my word, we have to rake all the leaves up. Leaves are one of the major energy inputs in a stream in the fall. Here you've got soft maple leaves coming down here, fresh ones up here, a little more rotted ones back here. What these things do, and they accumulate in what are called leaf mats, and they start to get attacked by fungi and bacteria. That breaks down the complicated cellulose and components of these leaves. The insects love eating stuff like this. Eating a dead leaf, rotting leaf doesn't sound very good, but if you can picture a stale cracker, spread peanut butter on it and eat that. Basically, your insects are eating the peanut butter, which is the fungi and bacteria on those leaves that are breaking down the lignin and cellulose in the leaves.
So here you see the water's moving a lot slower. You don't have a lot of that ripply, shiny, rocky type of habitat. That's called a riffle, and this is a lot slower moving water, and this is called a pool. And in pool habitats, you tend to have more sand and fine-grained substrates kind of taking over and being pushed by the stream into this area and deposited in this area. These areas tend to accumulate stuff that's brought from upstream. You can see we kicked up a lot of these leaves, and they're coming down here. A lot of them are going to get trapped in the slower moving water. They're going to get trapped along the banks and in some of these areas where there's like a lot of sand and other stuff getting deposited. Those leaves will get also deposited there, and they can serve as shelters for insects and fish.
Weather and seasonal changes are really important in controlling aquatic insect activity and emergence, and this is when the organisms emerge out of the stream, because this is also going to affect their availability to other organisms as food. So during different seasons and different periods of warm air temperatures, you have a lot of insects emerging, and then you're going to have a lot of fish feeding on them as they're emerging, as well as birds. This is really important over the winter time, since you don't have a lot of other insect activity during that season, and so a lot of these organisms are going to be looking for that emergence in order to find food.
Fall's also the time when we start seeing winter adapted insects starting to emerge, so it can actually happen earlier than you think. So as soon as that starts happening, end of October, in November, you'll start seeing these winter active insects coming out, and they'll just go to town once there's snow on the ground as well, and that's when they start their winter life cycle.
Thank you so much for watching our informational videos on stream ecology in Minnesota. Hope you learned a lot about food webs, aquatic insects, and changes in the food webs over different seasons. If you want to learn more about everything we just talked about, you can check out some of our resources on bugsbelowzero.com. And if you want to learn about educational opportunities, you can check out some of the resources at the end of this video.